Hey everyone, welcome to the Lokulus IVA Webinar. I think before we get started, I just want to introduce myself, but I think we're quite excited about this, aren't we, Tom?
We are.
So I'm David Seed. I head up the product and development team here at Lokulus, and really quite excited to introduce IVA to the world. I know we've got customers, prospects, partners all involved. So welcome to everyone. I've been with Lokulus near on 15 years in a variety of roles, but really passionate about helping businesses drive customer service and customer success. And as I say, really keen to get into this and show you what we can do. Tom?
Yeah, so my name's Tom Rowland. I've been with Lokulus, oddly, for almost exactly the same amount of time, about 15 years. I started in the support team, and I've done pretty much every job in the delivery side of Lokulus's business. And these days I am a technical architect working for the innovation and architecture function. So I'm here to help Dave take you through IVA and hopefully enlighten you as to what we've been up to.
Great, thanks Tom. So in terms of what we're going to cover today, we obviously have done an intro, which is good. Appreciate we've got different audiences on, some that will very well existing customers that know the value that Lokulus can provide, others that may be new to Lokulus and certainly new to IVA. We're going to then take you through what IVA is, the value it can provide. We're going to provide a couple of demonstrations, example use cases in terms of how widely it can be used to essentially drive consumer engagement. And then we will open up for Q&A. So just on the Q&A front, you should see in Teams that you can populate the Q&A section. So as you go, if you put those in, and then at the end and in that section, we'll have a review and answer any questions that have come in. But yeah, let's move on. So Lokulus. So essentially, and this, these 3 pointers don't show the true value, but we're about revolutionizing customer service. We live in a online world where expectations from consumers are really, really high, and as our some of the people on the webinar will know, we really do revolutionise for our customers the interactions and intimate relationships that consumers can have with businesses, and we're obviously going to show you what that means and how we do it. And IVA and what we'll be showing today is very much essentially an e-com route is what we're going to be demoing, but we're an omni-channel platform. So we built a platform over some 20 plus years that can take all channels and really allow the management of customer interactions to promote service, to drive retention and customer satisfaction, and for that matter, agent satisfaction. And we're not just about ticketing, we're about integrating with business systems. So this isn't just ticketing, consumer engages team and gets Q&As answered. This is deep integration to provide front office and back office with existing systems that may master insurance information, sales information if you're in e-com. And within that is a key workflow point is automation. We want to bridge the gap between automated value and agents and the human touch, and we have proof of doing that for over our 20 years, and we will come on to some of the customers that we work with.
Yep.
So I'm going to hand over to Tom, who, before we move into what IVA is, he's just going to give you a quick tour of our platform.
Yeah, so cheers, Dave. So yeah, those who've worked with Lokulus in the past, or people who are engaging with us right now, potential clients, will be familiar with this picture we've got in front of us, the wiring diagram. But for those who aren't, and for those who might need a reminder, we'll just run through it quickly. This is designed to sum up the Spectra platform. So IVA, you can see in the top left-hand corner, that's our consumer-facing self-service type capability, and that's what we're really here to talk about. But it's just one component of the Spectra platform. So starting in the top right-hand corner of that screen, you can see we've got data and events. So we can pull in inputs, we can pull in pieces of work that need dealing with from a variety of sources, starting with XML, JSON, databases, file-based stores. Moving to the centre at the top of the screen, we can deal with voice, either an existing IVR based implementation or providing the whole telephony solution out of the box. We can deal with email, we can deal with documents with whitemail, we can deal with SMSs, social media interactions like Facebook, WhatsApp, Twitter, and more recently we've moved into being able to deal with video based interactions as well to offer that additional channel value, and that's something that you'll see later on in the demonstration. On the other side at the top we can see we've got IVA, which is effectively a channel, if you like, a method of ingress and egress in and out of the Spectra platform, serving up FAQs, web forms, chat and video. Then moving down the centre of the picture, once we've pulled all this work in, we've got a series of 3 bots. We've got Cal, we've got Flow, and we've got Reg. And they are effectively the core of the Spectra platform, and they drive a lot of the behaviour that you see from the solution. So Cal, responsible for enrichment, classification, sentiment analysis. It's basically there to extract the goodness out of the communications we receive and to inform what we can do with them. We've then got Flow, which is our business process engine. We use that to model a client's business processes. So that might be pulling things in and sending them for handling by a human, to be sent for handling by some sort of automation, sending automated acknowledgements, managing quality assurance workflows, a whole variety of different options. Sitting down at the bottom, we've got Reg, our resourcing agent, and Reg is responsible for keeping an eye on 3 critical things inside the Spectra platform. It keeps an eye on all the people, it keeps an eye on all the work that's being ingested at the top, and it keeps an eye on the service levels that have been ascribed to all that work. And it's trying to keep those things in balance, and it fundamentally answers one very simple question. When an agent logs into Spectra and needs something to do, it answers the question, what next? So it decides what piece of work an agent should work on by balancing the demand of work you've got coming in, the people you've got available, and the service levels ascribed to it. Moving across to the side of the diagram, we've got a range of automated actions we can provide. So we have automated actions we can provide right inside the platform, like sending automated acknowledgements, serving up content, returning FAQs, and then we can integrate with third-party systems, and that's really where the value starts to kick in. We have a knowledge management system, a knowledge store, which holds on to pieces of content we might need. So it can hold templates and paragraphs we might use for building responses. It can hold FAQs to be served up through IVA or other channels. It can hold knowledge to be surfaced either to agents or out through our KMS portal to your customers directly. And finally, we've got our universal desktop. So all of this is effectively packaged up so your agents have only got to work in one place. They've got one user interface in front of them, and all of that power of the Spectra platform is surfaced to them in that one place.
Brilliant. Thank you, Tom. And I think our history and pedigree is really driving workflow automation for the agent. So while we've always had the channels open, email, phone, the work has either been automated or routed to agents, which is what Resource Manager does based on skill and availability. What we're really talking about today is IVA, and actually taking that capability that we've been working on all over these years and actually putting it in the hands of the consumer. So that's really the focus today, but clearly, as hopefully everyone can appreciate, there's actually far more value that we can provide. So just moving on to some of our clients, I think some of these will be well known, but we span retail, we span government, insurance, financial services. So they're in the top bracket. You can see them, and they're all known names, obviously. And then we have service providers that we work with, like Capita, Teleperformance, Serco, and DSB. To the pedigrees there, and again, the bit we're talking about today is IVA and taking the service to the consumer to provide the best possible service and free up agents, of course. Yeah,
and I think it's fair to say that whilst IVA is something that we're obviously launching and introducing today, it's something that we've been talking to some of our service partners particularly about over the last 6 months. So some of those guys are already familiar with this and have already been taking it to their client bases with some success.
Yeah, indeed. So, and I've left this slide in really because this kind of educates in an image what IVA does. It takes the noise, all businesses ultimately need and want customers, but it's how they distill the inquiries effectively and efficiently for both the business but also the consumer. So this is really about reducing the noise, providing increased satisfaction, but enriching information to hand it off to the agents where necessary. So it becomes, as IVA is, an intelligent virtual assistant to both the consumer and agents alike.
Yeah.
So we are soon going to just give, move on to a demo, but this kind of sums up what we just talked about. IVA is taking our experience in delivering internal journeys and pushing them out to the consumer. And, it's all about operational effectiveness and customer satisfaction. And we do that across three things. Businesses can't and won't invest in 24/7 necessarily, but IVA will actually, do the night shift. So that can provide and enrich and answer queries while there's no one there, but also enrich the information that may be provided to the agents in the morning to provide an optimal service.
Yeah, I mean, it's that idea of lots of our clients come to us and say they want to provide, the gold standard. They want the Amazon-style customer service, but there's a reality. Many clients simply don't have the scale to be able to justify 4 contact center operations globally that can provide that, follow the sun, answer in 15 rings kind of service.
Yeah.
IVA offers you the opportunity to provide a similar level of service, but without having to have that enormous investment in people and locations in order to make it happen.
Yeah, indeed. And the second bit is back to that integration point. So, IVA is not about deflection. IVA is about enabling service to the consumer. So let's take e-commerce again as an example. Then if you run a Shopify site, then IVA can interact with the Shopify account to look at order and product information to enrich the service.
Yeah, I mean, it's that idea of, as you say, it's that idea of moving things that would traditionally have been back office workflows and putting them into a world where the consumer can work through that workflow up front.
Yeah.
Rather than having to have them wait.
And I think the other point is that this is not just about visitors to websites. This is actually allowing agents to send, capture information or wizard type collection to consumers as part of an onboarding journey or otherwise. So this is not just about interaction from a website. It's far more than that. And this is proven based on our client base that this will drive fundamentally retention, reduce handle time, and free up resource to work on either higher priority items or other stuff.
Yeah, and I think that word there we've got increased customer and agent satisfaction. We all know at the moment that the labour market is challenging. That's fair to say. It's not just a question, as it would have been going back a few years, where it's a case of not wanting to have to pay for additional resource. It's the fact that lots of our clients can't get the resource, even if they've got the money to pay for it.
Yeah, indeed.
There are lots of businesses we're working with right now who are coming out of lockdown, as demand returns to normal, and they've realised, having cut their workforces, they can't scale back up to where they were, but they still need to provide the same level of service they did before.
Yeah. Have we talked enough?
I think we have. Should we see a demo?
Shall we move on to the demo? So let's take you to the demo, and then we'll come back and cover the key elements. Okay, so to demonstrate IVA, what we have in front of us and on my phone is a e-commerce electronic site called Morphi. And what I'm going to do is go to Home Cinema Televisions, and I'm going to have a look at this Sony Bravia TV. So load the page, have a quick look at what the information provides. But immediately as I clicked on the page, we saw that IVA popped on the bottom left-hand corner, and then sometime after we actually got a notification suggesting that IVA can assist me in my inquiries. So we're going to click on the notification. IVA has loaded full screen because I'm on a mobile phone, and the customer, myself, has joined, followed by IVA. And what we can see is that IVA understands the context of the product that I'm looking at, which is the Sony television, which is referenced in the first paragraph. But then it's actually provided some common queries that may well help pre-purchase. So I can expand some of them, have a quick look. but that content is taking the context of the product and the page that I was looking at, done a search in our content management system and presented some examples. Those pieces of content can be derived and created by agents. So this can be very dynamic. As further questions come in and may hit agents, they can construct content, publish them very quickly so that they appear in this view. Below that, we have the Sony manual. So again, it can provide linkage based on context to external sources, in this case, the Sony website. And then below that, we can see that some service options have been provided. Place an order, track an order, talk to an expert, or more FAQs. So up until this point, this has been an entirely automated journey, but IVA understands the context of the product. But at this stage, I'd like to talk to an expert. So let's have a click of that. And what is going to happen now is it's going to request some information from me. Obviously, it wants to know who I am before it routes me through to an agent. So let's put my email in and just a phone number for the purpose of this. And we click chat now. And essentially what is happening now is that IVA, based on it saying there's an expert available, understands that there is someone there to take the chat, essentially. So actually what is happening, and we can see that we're getting a response. And if we look at the top, Tom has joined, so IVA's now left the automation, and we've been transitioned to Tom, who is the actual agent. So let's say hi to Tom. And what we're going to do at this point is, we've done automation, we've done chat, but for the purpose of this, we want to do a further channel switch to video. So let's just say, let's go to video. And obviously, this would normally be derived from Tom, but essentially Tom has got that. He's now going to send me a video request, which is going to come in shortly. He said okay. And there we go, we've got an incoming call. So let's accept that. And now essentially IVA is transitioning the chat to live video, where shortly we'll be able to see Tom and myself. Hey Tom, good to see you. So what we've demonstrated so far is IVA initiated from an e-commerce site where it's provided automated answers, FAQs. We've then transitioned to chat, and now we've transitioned to video.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, video is a natural escalation in that order of channels, isn't it? It allows us to see each other. You know, there's a whole range of body language things and other things we can pick up on. Also, if I just take the opportunity to just spin the camera around, it also means that I can use the camera to show you, some of the environment I'm in. All sorts of useful scenarios there. I could be a salesman, in which case maybe I'm trying to sell you something like this beautiful table and vase combination. Or if I'm a car salesman, I could be showing you around the interior of the car. There's also scenarios we could use it in around insurance, underwriting scenarios, dealing with people who've possibly suffered bereavement. It very much represents an escalation in terms of channel value.
Thanks, Tom, that's great. So what have we seen today? We've seen how IVA can support your customer service 24/7 from a widget on your own website that provides and understands context based on the product or service that a customer may be looking at. In addition, we've seen how that automation can provide automated service and signposting. We can escalate automation to human agents via live chat, and then we can further escalate to video. Thanks for your time today. Okay, so hopefully everyone found that demonstration useful. Just to remind everyone that before I recover what we've just seen there and the value, if you've got any questions that you wish to put in the post, please do that and we'll pick them up at the end. But let's look at the first demo and what we've seen. So we've shown how IVA can seamlessly connect customers with service, with automatic and real-time engagement. We've seen how common tasks and inquiries can reduce service overheads, So we saw that actually, in the given product that was demonstrated, we could provide essentially answers to that given product, and that context we'll talk quite a bit about, but the context of understanding where you interact either from to provide, personalised service is really quite key.
It's also that preempting thing, isn't it? It's not about waiting. It's about trying to not wait for the customer to get through to a customer service agent to then ask a question. It's let's try and preempt what the person might be asking about. You never know, we might just be able to head them off at the pass and convert someone into a sale earlier.
I think it's a kind of about personal experience, but I'm of the older generation, Tom? Not sure. But I do go to try and self-serve fundamentally, and again, we'll come on to maybe some of the challenges with some of the deflection techniques, but they're the things that frustrate. Ivory's not about that. Ivory's about providing the answers and the service, and if not, then it's up to the businesses to allow escalation through those different channels, which is obviously what we saw.
I mean, that's something we do, isn't it? Especially if we quite often end up engaging with clients initially on the basis that they want to do deflection. Our advice would always be, well, let's not think about deflection. Let's think about freeing up your agents to do the high value stuff, and let's think about not making customers wait to speak to an agent who can be serviced more effectively. Because let's face it, that can't be a bad thing.
No, indeed. And we've actually just talked about this, but the bit that we didn't particularly focus on in the initial diagram is resource management, actually being able to, identify availability of people to take either chat or video, but being able to prioritise that work and actually, again, based on context that can be provided, route it, if it's a finance question, if it's an accounting question, then actually route that to the right people to make it as an effective process as possible.
Yeah, and I mean, through resource management, the thing to bear in mind is the example we showed was kind of dancing around on the edge of one of the core uses of the Spectra platform. It's traditionally been employed by clients who are using contact centre based staff.
Yeah.
You saw in that example, I was sitting on the sofa in the kitchen area of our office. You could use the power of Spectra plus IVA to enable a distributed workforce. They could be your own staff.
Yeah.
They could be somebody else's staff. They could be, casual labour, gig economy type workers. A whole range of use cases open up that don't require you to buy a big office, fill it with 100 people, and get them to just service your clients.
Yeah, indeed. And then, again, we showed the output of the capture of knowledge in terms of the FAQs that were presented based on the context of the product. But behind that is actually the ability to continuously improve based on insight, the knowledge that can provide the commonly asked questions.
Yeah, definitely.
And finally, on this particular slide is the intelligent customer engagement. This ultimately knows the context of the product, but then it can capture context of the person, the identity. If that's then backed by CRMs or otherwise, then we can join up that whole journey. And this is not just someone wants to buy a telly. This is a customer that then you understand for any future engagements. Yeah,
I mean, the example of context that we've used in this particular demonstration is quite a simple one. They're on a product page, we know which product it is.
Yeah.
The idea of context could go a lot further than that. If they were logged in, we could be hooking into things about who they were as a customer, what their previous experiences had been.
Yeah.
We're going to show a demonstration in a minute of either working with a different type of context related to somebody's existing orders. It could be based on geography, it could be based on browsing habits, it could be hooked into customer data platform. There's a whole range of things that could be done with this, and it basically means it can evolve. You can get a starter for 10 deployments in that can cover the use cases you've got right now, and then in the future you can expand it to cover where you're going.
Yeah, indeed. So you've touched on the next demo, which we're going to move to.
I've stolen your thunder.
Just to remind everyone, please continue we can see some questions coming in. We will pick all of those up towards the end of the session, but if you've got any to date, please add them. But let's move on to our second demonstration of the day. Okay, so on the first demo, we showed how IVA can support the pre-sales process, from an automated experience to providing service options to transitioning to an agent who provided live chat and video. The second part of the demo is to show the post-sale support that IVA can provide. So what we see in front of us is an email that we've received on order of, in this case, the TV. And within the email that the consumer has got, we've got a QR code, which is essentially a link to the URL, but we've also got a link and a button that we can click to find out where the order is at. And in this particular example, the consumer is essentially looking to find out the status of their order. So let's click Let IVA Help. Select the browser we wish to use. And immediately what happens is that we're navigated to IVA, again on the supporting e-commerce site, but IVA in this case understands the context of the order number from the URL that has been clicked. So we can see that it says, "Hi Dave," we can see an order number, and actually I've got some specific service options relating to the order itself. I've got my order hasn't arrived yet, my order has arrived but it's damaged, or I want to cancel my order. So in this scenario we'll play out that the order hasn't arrived. So let's click that. And we wait for IVA to respond. So IVA at that point, again understanding the context of the order, has gone away and done a live checkup to see where the status is. And in this case, unfortunately, the delivery is going to be past what was agreed. So rather than immediately having them contact an agent, we've preempted, based on thresholds, that we're willing to give them a voucher to try and satisfy them and keep them as a satisfied customer. So in this case, the consumer can merely say, yeah, give me a voucher, I'm happy with that, as long as it comes tomorrow. And essentially, that concludes the... So again, we can see questions coming in, appreciate that. We will get to them shortly, but let's just cover off what we saw in that second even demonstration. So we covered this in the intro, but IVA is not merely about the consumer coming to the business, it's about joining up the whole journey. So in this particular case, we saw that on the back of an order, the link was provided, the consumer clicked the link, and actually it understood, again, context, we keep talking about context, and it was actually able to look up the state of the order and provide and understand that actually the order was going to be late based on promises, and actually then was based on thresholds that had been configured, could make the decision that based on a high value item, let's give them a bit back in order to satisfy them, one, and two, not necessarily have to get an agent involved. So, context based on the URL provided within the email in this case.
Yeah.
And secondly, and again, we've talked about this, it's about that frictionless journey, not deflection. It's about taking the service to the client.
Yeah, providing genuine customer service options, not just, let's face it, bots have been around and providing customer service for years. Most of them are effectively just talking FAQs, maybe with a bit of intelligence built in. This is about putting actual proper customer service interactions into the customer's own hands, and avoiding the cost of having to build things like portals to provide that. If you're a big business, that might be feasible.
Yeah.
If you're a smaller business, that might not be something you want to spend your money on. There might be higher value things you could do with it.
Yeah, indeed. And the third point, which we've not directly shown here, but by understanding the engagement from the consumer, then obviously you can monitor, look for hotspots, and really address any service gaps that you have. So analytics and insight underpin everything we do.
Yeah. So
the bit that we focused on here is very much an e-commerce journey, but it goes without saying that we don't, and our current customer base, as we covered, are not all e-commerce businesses, and we see that IVA has a place in essentially any online or physical location.
Yeah.
So we're just going to go through a few example use cases, and these are merely examples of how IVA can be taken into any business to drive value. So online, again, we've kind of talked about this. In this particular video, we can see that the Wizmo journey is directly being engaged from an IVA point of view. So a slightly different variation of what we've seen in the demonstrations today, but capture information, capture order number, and give the state of not just the order, but where is the delivery of that order. So that Wizmo, as we call it, where's my order, very much key from an e-commerce point of view, and actually represents a high percentage of enquiries that e-commerce businesses get.
Yeah, and it's about, once again, this is similar to the demonstration scenarios we've shown today, isn't it? It's about using that thresholding to say, you know what, we've failed to deliver on time, we've made a mistake. The cost of engaging a person to sort that out is high, and what's the person going to be able to do? Probably not a lot. If the package is going to be a day late, it's going to be a day late. Much better to try and offer the customer something without getting a human involved, to say, look, we're sorry, we accept our mistake, here's a gesture of goodwill, which the agent would probably have had to give out anyway in order to keep that customer happy.
Yeah, indeed.
And it's about being able to offer that as this offering is designed to work as an off-the-shelf thing, isn't it? So this isn't something we would configure necessarily as a one-off for somebody. This is an off-the-shelf capability that we've built into IVA.
Yeah, and that relates to, I know we've only included Shopify and Magento there, but actually we've got standard integrations, but also, ultimately any SOAP or RESTful API or system we can interface to. Yeah. We've not, if we just look at the bottom right hand corner, the journey that we've demonstrated was essentially the IVA interactive journey. But as you might just know, we've got an FAQ, which is essentially just a searchable set of FAQs that are dynamic, but you can search across them all and then contact us. In the journey that we provided in the demo, we joined all that up, which is ultimately also possible.
Yeah, I mean, it's a flexible model, isn't it? The idea is that we insert our widget, can be inserted into a customer's website simply, straightforwardly, one line of code, and then the control over how it behaves is put in the hands of the people who are at the coalface. It's put in the hands of the customer service team ultimately to decide how they want to deal with inquiries. They might want to vary how that works day to day.
Yeah.
If you're having a bad day in the run up to Christmas, and we know that we can't provide the level of service we want via contact us, and we just want to hammer chat today, maybe that's how you set it up.
Yeah.
On the flip side, you might want to say, you know what, we just can't deal with a chat volume at the moment. We'll get everybody coming in through contact us, and we'll make sure we get back to people as quickly as we can.
Yeah. So a couple more use cases to go through. The other one, as I alluded to at the beginning of this, was that this is not just online. This is actually, and I didn't put the word phygital.
You didn't, although it's very much in vogue, the word phygital, Dave.
It is, so I should have included that. But bringing the physical and digital worlds together. So in this particular case, an example of, a QR code next to a product in store, and you can interact and scan the QR code to take you to IVA. Again, it will know the product, and it will be able to provide direct information relating to that product. Maybe allow, I want to buy it now, and you don't want to queue up at the till.
Yeah.
You might want it to be delivered, and all that interaction would be possible again with IVA.
Yeah. Also, the notion of obviously we've got that sort of talking about an attended store kind of idea.
Yeah.
We've been talking to clients recently who operate petrol stations, typically unattended environments, but they have there's a requirement still to provide some form of customer service. Similar idea, the ability to display a QR code on the screen of the pump.
Yeah.
You snap the QR code with your phone, and then you've transferred your customer service experience away from that onto a device you own, and you can then interact with a human to find out, for whatever your problem is. Let's say you've forgotten your card and you've already dispensed your fuel.
Yeah. And then this kind of moves us further on to that physical presence. So, the other use case, and we're working with someone on, is actually shared office spaces where there may not be a reception.
Yeah.
And other scenarios ultimately where you want to give back and give consumer information back. The use of this QR code, you scan it and you get direct information about the building. So in this case, you want to check in, so you come into an unattended reception.
Yeah.
It says scan here. You want to check into a business, in this case Lokulus, and actually then IVA can route you through, essentially, and connect you with an employee of Lokulus and can come and collect you.
Yeah, exactly. Might also thinking about how the shift in working patterns. How we work here. We don't have there's no obligation for everybody to be in the office all the time. There are days when everyone's needed to be here. There are days when everyone's not needed to be here.
Yeah.
But this might allow you to still have that same personal experience, But on a day when you've only got a minimum workforce in,
Yeah.
there's no point having a receptionist sit in there
Yeah.
because they're entitled to their 2 days a week working from home just like everyone else is.
Yeah, and another extension to that is, you want information not to route through, but you want the office map as an example. So just to
Where are you on the business page?
yeah, indeed.
For anyone who's visited our offices here at Alderley Park, it's a large place. It's not an uncommon question we get from clients coming to visit us, which is, we've found our way to Alderley Park, but where on the business park actually are you? Because it's a big place.
Yeah, indeed. And then in terms of markets, this is cross-market, and all markets can benefit from the value. And again, we are focusing on IVA, but this is all underpinned by the Spectra platform.
Yeah.
But we have, e-commerce, and the demos demonstrate that we've essentially got that covered. Retail, in-store, no different. The travel industry was obviously recovering from the pandemic, having some challenges themselves. We're aware that it's still fairly, maybe quite email management based, and actually, maybe corporate travel specifically can benefit from having this type of capability.
Yeah.
Again, based on my favourite word, context. And then other examples. Interesting. That's not updating. Oh well. So anyway, I'll read them out anyway.
Do you want to just talk?
I'll just talk. But financial services, government, and insurance. So we have value ultimately across the board. So yeah, I think that kind of wraps up what we're here to talk about. But I think we can move on to Q&A.
Yeah. So we have had some questions, Dave. Shall I act as question master?
Yeah, put me on the spot. Let's
put you on the spot, right? So starting at the top. Don't bots have a bad reputation? Dave?
Depends on the bot and what we define a bot as. I am a consumer, strangely enough, and I've interacted with bots that have left me frustrated, and those bots tend to be essentially a way of making me go away.
Yeah, coming back to that word deflection, isn't it? We've talked quite a lot about it today.
So whether they're conversational or whether they are click on this, the more often than not, well, there's two. One is essentially just a contact us form, not a bot anyway, where you just record your information, they get back to you. The other common one is that you essentially are just deflected to some random web page. So completely deflected. They are frustrated. We don't class ourselves as that. We class ourselves as a virtual agent, a virtual assistant and agent.
Concierge, isn't it?
Almost. Yeah, exactly.
It's a way of pre-screening what's coming through the door and make sure it gets to the right source of answer, not necessarily just trying to make people go away.
And again, my personal experience is if the self-service can ultimately answer my question, I'm good. Or I can change, I can change my Sky subscription. Well, that would be nice, Sky. But anyway, yeah.
Maybe we need to engage with Sky, Dave. Maybe if they had either, that wouldn't be such a painful experience.
Maybe we do.
Excellent. Right, so let's move on. Paul has asked, can the tool be used to schedule a video call for a later date/time?
So I think in terms of the second demo, what have we done there? We're effectively providing a URL that either understands the context of. So that would be no different if someone wished to schedule a video. The point is that the context can drive the starting point of the engagement. So if that starting point happens to be, let's do a video in the example we showed, then yes, that's feasible.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose it's also, that context idea can be taken further, can't it? We're currently using the contextual prod, if you like, to start the conversation off, is customers browsing on a web page or customers clicked a link.
Yeah.
There's no reason why it couldn't be used in a more proactive form. We've sent the customer a WhatsApp message.
Yeah.
We've pushed an email to the customer. The customer has browsed onto the homepage of their banking app, and up's popped IVA saying, "Hey, there's a problem with your account. Do you want me to help you sort it out?"
Yeah. Yeah, indeed.
Excellent. So what else have we got? We've had a question that says, "Hi there," from Anonymous. "Hi there, can you talk a bit more the bus layer /integration layer? What programming language is used? Do you want to take that one, Dave? Or
Yeah, so that's a Tom one, isn't it?
you think that's a Tom one?
Yes.
So yeah, I mean, there's all of the integration that IVA leverages is ultimately derived from the Spectra platform. We don't believe in building pieces of integration just to benefit one channel.
Yeah.
We want to build a piece of integration to something once, and then we want to leverage it everywhere. So we want your agents to have access to it through when they're handling an email. We want IVA to be able to leverage it. We want to be able to automate, answers.
Yeah.
So let's say we build an integration to somebody's delivery platform. We want to use that everywhere. And that's driven through a component of the Spectra platform called Connect. That is a tool that allows you to build integration to pretty much anything. It's easiest to web service based things, so SOAP or JSON based web services are the obvious options, but we've used it to integrate to databases, to flat file based systems, via screen scraping tools, to mainframes. If you can think of a scenario, we've probably built an integration to something similar, and it's fundamentally all built using C# at the end of the day.
Yeah.
The difference is, though, that instead of having to worry about building all that C# code and worrying about all of the non-functional things you would have to worry about if building a whole solution from scratch, we take a lot of the non-functionals away from your developers to have to worry about. So we deal with the security, we deal with the integration into the platform, we deal with hosting it, we deal with making it resilient and available.
Yeah.
All you do is concentrate on the business logic, and then you can pull that in all over the configuration of the Spectra platform, including through IVA, to achieve your automation objectives.
Yeah, and I think it's worth noting that hopefully it's apparent that we tend to be the glue that brings all of these disparate systems together. That's how we typically talk, isn't it? We're the centerpiece for the orchestration of the business processes.
Yeah. Just looking at the time, we've probably got time for another couple.
Okay.
Can you expand on what insight IVA/Lokulus can provide to drive improvements to customer services and reduce costs?
Yeah, of course. So, I mean, again, I alluded to it before, but the underpinning of the IVA, which is the consumer piece, is Spectra, and Spectra itself is focused on analytics and insight fundamentally. So, whether it be transactions, whether it be relationships, and we've not actually covered this today, but the relationship of pieces of work relating to open cases, relating to customers, we hold that insight and provide both in system and data extracts or data APIs to report on that information to really provide management information for businesses to run and tune and optimize their businesses.
Yeah, and I mean, it's a matter of scale, isn't it? Some customers might start off with a small deployment. They might just rely on our in-house capabilities to provide them with some insight. And then as they grow, they might want to start taking that data away to meld together with other data from around their business to give them that more holistic business level reporting, not just their customer interactions.
Yes, indeed. What do you reckon? One more?
I think we've got time for one more, and then we'll let these good people get on with their day. Is IVA targeted at retail only, Dave?
I think we might have answered this.
Let's answer it again.
I mean, no, of course not. This is, again, I'll I guess reiterate essentially any online engagement or any in-person engagement is our target. So it suits e-commerce because obviously everyone is online.
Yes.
But it doesn't exclude any other industries, and actually we work with government, financial services to build that consumer-facing automation. So it's applicable to all industries, really.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose just to take that question on as a bit of a challenge, if we've presented today some use cases, some sectors, some particular demonstrations of how we think we could apply IVA, we would be the first to admit we probably haven't thought of all the potential use cases. If you can think of if someone out there can think of a use case for IVA that we've not covered, that you think something, either a problem you've got in your own business or something you think that might be applicable elsewhere, let us know. We are always...
I think it raises an interesting point that actually we pride ourselves on partnerships.
Yes.
And that's consumers partnership, customer partnership, where we want to co-create value. So if prospects or existing customers wish to get in touch to expand further or have a one-to-one session to discuss ideas, then obviously we're open to that.
Yeah, and I mean to further push that point, when we obviously, so some people may be aware of our history. We've been a privately owned business. We've been part of other larger groups. We're now a privately owned business again. When our now owners took us back to being a private business 2.5, 3 years ago now, one of the things they did was they created a function within Lokulus, the innovation and architecture team, with a 50% focus on that sort of thing, taking ideas from around the business, from outside, from partners, and driving them through so that we can actually deliver what people are asking us for, not just what we think is the right way to go.
Yeah.
We are always interested in hearing from anyone about it, if they think they've got a use case that we could support that we don't currently cover.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty much wraps it up for questions, and it just so happens that we're absolutely bang on time, Dave.
Perfect. Well done, Tom. So hopefully everyone found that useful. Obviously, this is just the beginning of the story. This is to expand and inform people of what IVA and the broader Lokulus platform can do. Obviously, we are ready to speak to people, re their specific circumstances and how we may be able to help. We have got a contact slide that I think we'll just transition to. So if you have any specific, slides aren't updating, so ignore that. But at the end of this, we have a QR code. So if you can scan the QR code, that'll take you to the IVA site, which will give you additional information, although I think we've been quite thorough there, Tom.
I do as well.
But please do get in touch, whether you're, have learned something new and wish to ask a question, or have a particular problem that you wish to speak to us to solve, please do so. But really appreciate everyone's time, and we have quite a few on, and this is the start of many in the future.
Is it worth a quick shout out about CCCX, Dave, for anyone who wants to meet up with us?
So we are at Call and Contact Centre on the 22nd and 23rd of November.
Is it the Excel, is it?
At the Excel in London. So there'll be plenty of notification going out about that. As it happens, Tom and I will be there.
We will be.
So please drop by or get in touch in advance, and we're happy to set up a one-to-one chat with you.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll be there for the 2 days. So please come and see us.
Yeah.
And I think that probably wraps it up. Thank you, Tom.
Thank you, Dave.
Very good.
Yeah.
And we'll speak to everyone soon.
Thank you, guys.